Hello aspirants, looking at current affairs for 14th November. The news items which we have picked up from the Hindu are these 7. We'll discuss them in detail. The first one, deal or no deal? India-Japan wrangle over nuclear pact note. So we have already seen 2 days back, India-Japan nuclear deal has been signed. That was when Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Japan for the annual bilateral India-Japan summit which takes place alternately in India and Japan. So in this summit, this deal was signed after 6 years of negotiation. And the major sticking point, the most contentious point in this deal was about the nullification clause or the termination clause, which Japan wanted in the deal. So this meant, this would have provided that if India conducts a nuclear test, then this India-Japan nuclear deal would be immediately nullified. So India was against this. India has put a unilateral moratorium on nuclear testing. That means it has itself said that it would no more conduct any nuclear test. So that is provided unilaterally. Also, this was extended to NSG members in 2008 after India-US nuclear deal in 2005. But Japan wanted specifically this clause to be inserted, even though India has given unilateral moratorium. Because Japan also has a peculiar status that it is the only country in the world which has faced a nuclear attack. That is Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So India also was concerned about the sensitivities of Japan, and also this deal has to be passed by the Japanese parliament. Japanese parliament is called Diet. So after this deal is passed by the Japanese parliament, it can be put into effect. Also, we have discussed why this deal is important, because many critical components in the nuclear reactors which India has Japanese components. So it is required for the nuclear reactors which we want to establish in India from USA, UK, France to be operational, provided Japanese critical components are provided. Only Russian reactors do not require Japanese components. And an alternative to Japanese components is Chinese critical parts can be given by China. But then we don't want to depend on China. So that's why this deal was much more important. And also Japanese firms have a major stake in many nuclear companies from USA and France also. Like we have discussed, Westinghouse, Areva. So Toshiba, Mitsubishi, these companies have a major stake in these companies too. So then the entire nuclear deal with these European and Western countries cannot be completed until and unless India-Japan nuclear deal is in place, and Japan can also have nuclear trade with India. So those were the contingencies based on which we were insisting on this nuclear deal to be passed. So this nuclear deal has been signed, but awaiting the approval by the Diet. But now this nuclear deal has put in a note on views and understanding. So the nullification clause has not been inserted in this deal which has been signed, but this additional document, note on views and understanding, which has been signed along with the nuclear deal, provides Japan a clause which is providing Japan that it can invoke emergency suspension of supplies if India conducts a nuclear test. So what Japan wanted has been additionally inserted separately. So this also says that no contestation of any compensation claims can take place by India in any court. So all these provisions are provided in this note, additional note. So now the question which is there is whether this is legally binding or not. So Indian side says no, it is not legally binding. Japanese side says yes, it is legally binding. It has been signed along with the nuclear deal, so it is as effective as the nuclear deal itself. So that is the issue. But anyway, we also understood this note was signed because without this, the nuclear deal being passed by the Diet, Japanese parliament, would have been difficult. So that we are awaiting, that will happen in 2017, early 2017. So we'll see what goes ahead in this too. The India-US nuclear deal has already been signed, but nuclear commerce has not yet started as expected because of one aspect is the India-Japan nuclear deal being stalled and critical components not provided, and another which we saw is Japanese companies having a stake in US and even European, France companies, nuclear companies. So those are the aspects. Plus earlier too, US companies had a concern regarding the liability clause. So this was the Nuclear Liability Act which India has passed in its legislature, which provides for liability even on the nuclear reactor providers. So nuclear component providers also have a liability in case of nuclear accidents in India. So there were ambiguities regarding this clauses and then assurances have been given to these Western nuclear companies. So now they have agreed to establish nuclear reactors in India. So this is Westinghouse, which is planning to have 6 nuclear reactors in Andhra Pradesh, but presently awaiting India-Japan nuclear deal to be signed so that it goes ahead. Then the next news item is migratory painted stocks sighted at salt pans. So these painted stocks have migrated. They are said to have been internally migrated, means from within India. They have migrated to salt pans in Odisha. So they do come to Chilika Lake in Odisha. These are the painted stocks. This is the Chilika Lake in Odisha. So they do come to Chilika Lake, which is a brackish water lake, you can see. So these migratory birds come every winter in these lake region, but then this is the first time they have come to salt pans, which generally have less nutrient content. So that is one aspect. But what is important for us, especially Chilika Lake, its location in Odisha, it's a brackish water lake. Plus here Chandipur also, you can see, we have discussed this earlier too. This is just across this is the Wheeler Island, which has been renamed as Abdul Kalam Island, which has the integrated test range of India, from which missile testing takes place by India. So even Chandipur has an integrated test range platform, and here also. So both Chandipur and Wheeler Island together, Chandipur is on Odisha coast and Wheeler Island is an island just across it, are the integrated test range facilities here. Then other important places are these three: Puri, Konark and Bhubaneswar. Puri is known for Jagannath temple, Konark is known for the Konark Sun temple, and Bhubaneswar has the Lingaraj temple. So some aspects for geography you can move for prelims perspective. Then the next news item is herbal compound promises cure for liver cancer. This herbal compound has been derived from a medicinal plant which grows as a weed in wastelands across India. This herbal plant is named as Solanum nigrum. It's also known as Manithakali in Malayalam. Another name is black nightshade. So this medicinal plant has traditionally been used to treat various ailments like jaundice, bronchitis, asthma, leprosy and so on. So presently a group of researchers from India have derived a compound from the leaves of this plant. And this compound is a type of saponin. So saponin are types of compounds which are generally found in plant species. And this compound has been named by them as Atrocide B. So this Atrocide B is being tested and found to be 10 times more effective than sorafenib to treat liver cancer. So sorafenib is the only known drug presently available to treat liver cancer. So hepato means related to liver. So hepatocellular carcinoma, that means liver cancer. And in sorafenib, the treatment results in noticeable side effects, whereas with use of Atrocide B, the side effects are negligible. So that is another advantage too. These researchers have already applied for a patent for this drug too. So this is a significant advancement in science and technology using traditional Indian medicinal plants. Then the next news item is Mudumulai redraws ecotourism map. So this is regarding Mudumulai Tiger Reserve in Tamil Nadu. And presently what you see here is the structure of any tiger reserve or biosphere reserve. So it has a core area here, which is the reserve forest area. Then there is a buffer zone and then the transition zone. So in the core area, strictly no human activities are allowed, but in the buffer zone too, the human activities are to be regulated, and in the transition zone, human settlements are allowed. So presently in Mudumulai Tiger Reserve, it was seen that illegal tourism activities were taking place in the buffer zone. So illegally jeeps were faring through this region. So now to tackle this illegal tourism activity, the Mudumulai Tiger Reserve Council has taken a bold initiative, and it has spoken of giving permits and allowing 200 taxi drivers, jeep drivers to function in this region. So this will regulate the illegal activity too, and a proper check can be put on this. So this is the initiative which has been taken, which is highlighted. How do you tackle an illegal activity? By providing, because there is tourism potential here. So even if checks are put in, jeeps still continue to function here. So then to legalize what is in demand, what people want on a minimum level, so that forest conservation can also take place and employment opportunities, a sustainable model for that can also be brought in. So that is how it is balanced. Then the next news item is Supreme Court sets up panel on night shelters. The Supreme Court is presently questioning the states about their lax attitude to provide shelters to the homeless in urban areas. and especially in the northern states, because due to the present onsetting winter season, many people die due to lack of shelter. So what steps are being taken by the states? The Supreme Court says there is already a program in place, that is National Urban Livelihood Mission. There is already funding provided under this. There is already a complete mechanism in place about how to go about dispersing that fund. Still, shelters have not been developed, and this is through the adverse report which has been given by the NALSA, National Legal Services Authority. So presently, the Supreme Court has set up a committee chaired by former Delhi High Court judge. This is Justice Kailash Gambhir. So he will look into this matter, whether there is a discrepancy here and night shelters are adequately available or not, whether the states are complying with the operational guidelines under the National Urban Livelihood Mission, and what further recommendations can be provided to assist the states in this matter. So it is given 4 months time frame to report to the Supreme Court. In the meantime, Supreme Court has asked the states to at least set up temporary shelters to ensure that the urban homeless do not die during this winter season and have adequate shelter with essential facilities. So that is the order of the Supreme Court now. So you should know about the National Urban Livelihood Mission. This is regarding the urban homeless, how many sanctioned shelters are there and how many are operational. So that is shown here. So all this data of homeless households are as per 2011 census. About the National Urban Livelihood Mission, this was a mission launched in 2013. So this has replaced the Swaran Jayanti Shahari Rozgar Yojana. So this is a replacement to that scheme. Under NULM, there are 4 major components. So one is about skill development for getting market employment. Another aspect is about self-employment. So easy access to credit should be given. The third aspect is on providing shelters equipped with essential services to the urban homeless and poor. So this is the third part which is in news presently here and of significance. And the fourth aspect is on addressing the livelihood of urban street vendors. So this is the NULM mission for which funding is provided to states, plus there is an operational mechanism in place too. So that is what Supreme Court is questioning. Then the next news item is Gitmo, a site where even nightmares were classified. Gitmo stands for Guantanamo Bay. So that is a region here in Cuba. You can see here. Cuba is an island nation in Caribbean Sea. You can see its relative position with respect to USA. This is Mexico, Panama. So this is Cuba. Guantanamo Bay here has been acquired by USA from then Cuban government in 1903. So it was acquired on lease, and this lease has been continuously extended. Present Cuban government says this is illegal occupation, but of course USA refuses to vacate. It has established its naval base here. Plus in 2002, the then US President George W. Bush established the Guantanamo Bay detention camp here. So this was post the 2001 terror attacks, 9/11 attacks, and after that USA invaded Afghanistan. So it arrested all these potential threats, and they have all those suspects were put in these prisons in Guantanamo Bay. So these were detention camps here, and people could be arrested and put under arrest indefinitely without a trial. And tortures of inhuman nature were meted out on them. So there have been extensive human rights violation here that has been documented by many. Even doctors who have worked here, psychiatrists who have worked here have shared their experiences. So this is about Guantanamo Bay. The US President Barack Obama, former US President now, had spoken during 2008 in his first presidential election times only that he would end and close down the Guantanamo Bay detention camp. But even till date, this camp is still active. Many have been released now, but then still 60 prisoners remain in this Guantanamo Bay. So 10 will be charged or convicted for crimes by the military commissions here later. But this is the status right now. It has not been closed so far. Then the next news item is card usage surges, micro-lending grinds to a halt. So this is again in response to the currency demonetization, that card usage has surged. So debit card, credit card usage even for small amounts have risen. But then what is of significance is that micro lending has come down to a halt. Micro lending means lending which is done in small denomination, small amounts. So these amounts means lending, generally bank loans which you see will be taken in thousands and lakhs, but here it is not very high amount which is taken on loan, and the repayment is done on a weekly basis or a fortnightly or even a monthly basis. So these micro lending institutions which are there, they function as non-banking financial companies, so they don't have any accounts, they don't take any deposits, but loans are provided to by them, and then the repayment of loans takes place. So in micro lending, it is a record that repayment is always 100%. So there is no faulting as such on loans which is seen in micro lending, but presently the repayment has gone down to 10%. Only 10% repayment has taken place. So all this is because of the demonetization. So poor are presently not able to repay because of this step. So presently what the microfinance institution network, which is a self-regulatory body for micro lenders, is asking the finance minister and RBI that they should be allowed to take 500 and 1000 rupee old currency notes as well for repayment. So that is a request being put forth by them. So we'll have to see if government does something about this or not. Another point of significance is that in microfinance lending, 99.9% of the customers are women. So this will be the section of population most affected. Also, another point highlighted in this is in large cash intensive businesses such as real estate, there is a significant motivation to undertake transactions in alternative storage values. And one example given is of bitcoins. So what are these bitcoins? We'll just take a look. So bitcoins were invented by a person called Satoshi Nakamoto. So whether this person really exists or this is alternate identity, it's not known, but this is what has been published in a research paper in 2008. So he invented bitcoins. This was put into implementation in 2009. So what are bitcoins? Bitcoins are cryptocurrency. So crypto means encoding. So crypto is like a puzzle which has to be decoded. So this is a cryptocurrency which has to be mined. Mining of currency takes place, means you have to generate a new currency by bringing out a code. So a unique code has to be developed. So there is a complete operation on how this is done. So that is called currency mining, bitcoins mining. So through this, the code generated means one bitcoin is generated. So the miner gets this bitcoin, then it can be sold off. An exchange can take place through currencies and other commodities as is done in the economy. So these bitcoins are generated like this, and there's a limit up to which these bitcoins can be generated. So that is the whole idea. And then you can have your own bitcoin account, and then you can buy bitcoins and you can make payments in bitcoins. And each transaction of bitcoins which takes place is a unique transaction which is recorded in the log of this bitcoin transaction, which every other account comes to know of. So there cannot be any duplicate transactions which can take place. So it is completely encrypted system. So this is how it works. So Bitcoin currency is another way of payment, and the identity of the person is completely anonymous. Even the identity of this researcher who invented it is completely anonymous. So that is whole idea of Bitcoins. So this explains it further too, like difference between e-money and Bitcoin. So e-money is what access to electronic devices through mobile phones and networks, you can do that. So this also through internet connection, you can use Bitcoins and e-money also. The value is determined by supply and demand for Bitcoins, and value of e-money is determined through the exchange rate of the currency actually. There the customer ID is completely anonymous, and in e-money your customer ID is clearly known. And the production, this is through mathematically generated, which I said called mining. So there's a complete peer network. So once a decoding takes place of this cryptocurrency, then one Bitcoin has been generated. Then the next person has to go further ahead with the cryptocurrency which has been generated, one Bitcoin which has been generated by one miner. Then the next person will go ahead at that level. So everybody competes to develop that one code, one Bitcoin. Then once that the person who first develops it gets that Bitcoin, then all others are out. Then you have to take that into consideration and develop the next code. So that's how one Bitcoin is also generated. So that is the whole process, and this can be used as cryptocurrency. So that is the significance of this. So many institutions, many food joints in Western countries accept Bitcoins. So it depends whether it is a trusted system, and it depends on its acceptability that it is of value. So that is the case. In India, it is not so much popular, but yes, for larger organizations and with international transactions, this can be used. So this is how a Bitcoin works too, as it is shown. So that is it for today. Thank you so much.